First and foremost, I'd like to give all praise to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakal Kadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who are teaching this truth. And shout out to Yakin that's out there in the four corners of the earth proclaiming this truth. And so here we are with another article. And I'm not sure if you've kept up with this, but at least 3 killed, 200 plus injured after a 6.1 quake strikes Osaka, Japan, which is almost like their second largest city besides Tokyo. At least 3 people have been confirmed killed, and more casualties are feared after a magnitude 6.1 earthquake hit north of Osaka Prefecture in western Japan, local media report. So, deadly quake interrupts traffic, wrecks houses, and causes blackout in Japan's Osaka area. Video. So, anyhow, this is earthquakes in diverse places. But not sure if you're keeping up with the Kilauea volcano in Hawaii, but we'll take a look at some of that footage. All right, let's get that music going.
USGS said the flow heading down to the ocean is traveling about 17 miles an hour. It's now entering the water at 2 points. The flow has also grown by about 28 acres since yesterday.
Almost reminds you of some of those learning movies we were forced to watch when we was kids, huh? Anyhow, Shalom. This is what's going on in Kilauea. Pray for her Hawaii campus. I always try to iterate. Actually, to be kind of funny, it almost sounds like some of the music in Jurassic Park.
6 more people for loitering or refusing to leave the evacuation zone in Lower Puna, bringing the total of citations to nearly 50 since early May. Those fines can range up to $5,000.
Oh, yeah, you better head to your FEMA center to get chipped. All right, let's move on to something else, shall we? Meanwhile, back in Syria, as Bashar al-Assad is moving forward to get rid of the terrorists in Syria, of course, the United States is planning their plan of false flags with the white helmets. So let's take a look at the Syria news report here as they're wiping out terrorist regimes.
عرف من الإرهابيين القتلى عماد عرسان وفرحان الحريري وفادي السلامات وناصر المصري. وفي السويداء استشهد مواطنان وجرح 3 نتيجة قذائف أطلقها إرهابيون على أحياء المدينة، وتسببت أيضا بانقطاع عام للتيار الكهربائي.
90 الفطن. وتواصل المراكز التابعة للمؤسسة استلام محصول القمح عبر 35 مركزا موزعا في مختلف المحافظات، حيث بلغت الكمية المستلمة 98 ألف طن، علما أن عمليات استلام المحصول.
So we can see how Bashar al-Assad is liberating the southern area near Damascus. And these places are pretty much free of the terrorists, so the United States, to stay in there, is going to create a false flag event, saying that Assad attacked the people.
اليوم الثالث، والذي تنظمه غرفة صناعة دمشق وريفها بالتعاون مع سوريا للتجارة وبمشاركة أكثر من 30 شركة. المشاركون في المهرجان أكدوا أن الهدف هو إيصال المواد بسهولة إلى المواطنين بأسعار مخفضة تصل إلى سعر التكلفة، ويشمل المهرجان عروضا كبيرة وحصومات مغرية على كل المنتجات وما يلزم.
Oh no, them returning back to business and trade? United States and the Israeli state cannot have this. So here we have Secretary of Defense saying that Oh, they've been so successful, but we got to take some tough measures in the Middle East.
Despite the successes of the last year, my message to you, and I've already heard your message to me, they have been consistent. Our fight is not over. We must deal ISIS an enduring, not just a territorial defeat.
So these makers of war, these warmongers, are getting ready for the next false flag.
Well, thank you, Excellencies, fellow ministers, Secretary General. Thank you for having us here.
How about fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you?
And I would just say that we look forward to your remarks in just a moment. Since our last meeting in November, all territory held by ISIS in Iraq has been liberated. Our compliments to
Angelina Jolie, that great actress, right?
Well done. And our Iraqi colleagues have successfully held democratic elections free from ISIS-inspired violence. What a dramatic change in circumstance.
You're the one that put ISIS there, you fuck.
2017, 2018. Our military campaign in Syria continues. A little over 100 hours ago, our partner forces began the first of several offensives into ISIS' diminished physical caliphate. As operations ultimately draw to a close, we must avoid leaving a vacuum in Syria that can be exploited by the Assad regime or its supporters. Despite the successes of the last year, my message to you, and I've already heard your message to me, they have been consistent. Our fight is not over. We must deal ISIS an enduring, not just a territorial defeat.
So here we go, getting ready for that next false flag to blame Bashar al-Assad, because they must not allow Bashar al-Assad to take advantage of this, which the United States didn't do shit to get rid of ISIS. They helped ISIS to gain control in Syria. Let's face it, Russia's the one that got rid of ISIS. Can't wait till all you Edomites are destroyed. Fuck you. And here's another insight. Vladimir Putin is selling off U.S. Treasury bonds because, well, he's sick of dealing with the whore. So this is Dabu 7's coverage, so I'll just let that play a little.
Russia is making more moves here that no doubt are affecting the U.S. dollar. Some people are oblivious to this. And I get it. There's so many headlines, so many things happening daily. It's easy to overlook a story or something going on. But this is something that has been ongoing for years now. We've talked about it several times, and it's just hitting a peak. Well, this may be nowhere near the peak thus far in all reality, but right now, just where it's at the height of where it's at, it's kind of jaw-dropping, because what it's showing is that Russia is making massive surges throughout just the past 3 years. From dumping 2%, it's now jumped to 15% in terms of dumping the U.S. Treasury bonds. This is important because Russia sold $47.4 billion out of $96.1 billion that it held in Treasury bonds. So it reduced its portfolio, and others have done so too. Japan has sold off $12 billion. China liquidated roughly $7 billion. Ireland ditched over $17 billion. Is your mainstream evening news talking about this at all? All you ever want to hear about is these tariffs or stuff that they're launching on other countries. Well, the tariffs and everything that was imposed, the sanctions imposed on Russia, is what here on the world stage has caused them to make these moves. So now, this warning sign for Washington and the U.S. dollar is they're looking for a surge in federal borrowing needs. It needs to finance huge spending, along with tax cuts that were passed by Congress in December. So it plans to auction off around $1.4 trillion in treasuries this year. And this is with a glut of sellers and a shortage of buyers in the bond market.
So there you have it, though. you know, this is going to be how the mark comes in, which is what they wanted all along. And here's something you won't see in the mainstream, but it will be in RT. And believe it or not, somebody's suing Monsanto over cancer because we know it's really causing cancer, and more so than cigarettes, it's what they're fucking putting in our food. So who's the gas-killing animal? Who fucking's poisoning the food and the water and the air? Fucking goddamn Esau, the so-called white man, under Donald J. Trump. Let's play this, shall we?
Now to the ongoing controversy involving agricultural giant Monsanto's Roundup product. The key ingredient in Roundup, glyphosate, is a known carcinogen. Now, one man is taking the company to court. 46-year-old Dwayne Johnson is currently diagnosed with terminal cancer. He's blaming Roundup, saying he used the product 20 to 30 times a year between 2012 and 2015. The judge has granted Johnson an expedited case, saying...
And they're putting this in our food.
Well, Johnson is the first of over 800 cancer patients suing Monsanto. And for more, we're joined by the lead attorney in the lawsuit against Monsanto, Michael Baum. Thank you so much for joining us tonight.
You're welcome.
And first, can you tell us how your client came to the conclusion that their health conditions were results of the chemicals found in Roundup?
In March of 2015, the International Association for Research on Cancer actually published an analysis of glyphosate-based products, of which Roundup, produced by Monsanto, is one of its primary blockbuster products. And that study concluded that there was a connection between glyphosate or Roundup formulated products and non-Hodgkin's lymphoma.
And what is your goal with this lawsuit? I mean, your clients certainly can't get years back on their lives. Have you heard from them the main reasoning for filing suit?
Well, first they want to hold Monsanto accountable for failing to make people aware of how dangerous it is when people are exposed to it, either casually or professionally. The product itself says that it affects an enzyme found in plants, not in humans or pets, and that's not true. And it actually affects some of the gut microbiota and skin microbiota that are part of the immune system, and in an adverse way, which have the same enzyme pathway as plants that it's designed to kill. So people don't protect themselves as carefully when they're using it because they're led to believe by Monsanto that it's as safe as table salt and is not something that they need to protect themselves. That's safe. They show advertisements of people walking around in shorts and spraying it around their kids or their pets in their yards. And it conveys the impression that it's not a toxic chemical that can lead to cancer.
So anyhow, you know, and because it is a salt, well, you know that almost everything that's in your canned goods and all that is salt. And so Monsanto is a salt, but it's the very bad salt that, you know, and the problem is, though, is that even if something is labeled organic or non-GMO, does not mean shit anymore, because Esau, of course, can bypass this shit and still is spraying Monsanto on everything. So, you know, either way, now you're seeing it come out, you know, that people are suing Monsanto, you know. And that's why I call McDonald's Monsanto's, because that's what it really is. I'll never fucking eat at McDonald's again. Sadly, our people still do. And, of course, we know that the war in heaven's about to start, as this is a hot topic among many of our sit-downs. Wish I could do a sit-down, but you know what Esau has done, so anyhow. So, here we go.
Space. We must have American dominance in space, Trump said before a meeting of his National Space Council. We are going to have the Air Force and we're going to have the Space Force. Separate but equal. It is going to be something, he said later. The U.S. is a member of the 1967 Outer Space Treaty, which bars the stationing of weapons of mass destruction in space and only allows for the use of the moon and other celestial bodies for peaceful purposes. The idea of a space force has been raised before by Trump and previous...
And get ready for the Star Wars, because Yahweh Shai and the angels are going to destroy this piece of shit America.